Fun Fridays with Lexi. Today we are going to be making cootie catchers. I don't know if you guys have ever used those before. So you're gonna want to start with a full-size piece of paper for this one. Like this. All right. So I'm going to show you how to make it into a square because you're going to need it a little bit bigger than the origami paper this week. So for a perfect square, you're going to take one of these corners and you're going to fold it like you're making a triangle, but it's not going to go all the way to the end. So what you really want to do is line these two sides up here on the bottom and try to get a nice little point right here in the corner. So I'm going to make that point and then kind of crease it so that it's lining up here. And then if you have a pair of scissors, you can cut, see this little piece that sticks out over the end right here? You can cut right along that line. Or if you don't have scissors, you can just bend it back and forth a few times and rip it off. But try to do it neatly. It's a little harder. So I would recommend scissors if you have them. So you're going to take your scissors. You're going to cut along that line right there. So you should be left with a giant triangle like this that opens up into a nice neat square. All right? I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds to do that. All right. So next, we're going to make a couple creases so that you can find where the center of the paper is. So we're going to fold it like a book. So you're going to take your big square and fold it in half into a rectangle, like that, and crease it. So I like to hold it lined up here and then pinch, 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 and then smooth it down. All right, so you should have a rectangle like this. And then you're going to open it back up. You can see that line it makes right down the middle. Okay, next step, we're going to fold it like a book in the other direction. So you just folded it this way. So now you're going to fold it top to bottom, like that, okay? So you're going to make a rectangle again, just like before, just in the other direction. So you're going to get it to line up, pinch, 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 and make a nice crease. There you go. So when you open it up, you should have a little crisscross here. You should have a line going in one direction and then another line going in the other direction. See that? Okay. So from here on out, we're pretty much going to do the same thing over and over again. So you're going to start with all your corners. And the reason we made this little center is because you're going to be folding this tip into the center. So I'm going to show you first and then you can do it. That way you get to see what it's going to look like. So you're going to take this corner, fold it down to the center. And a nice little tip here is to try to get the sides of this to line up with these creases right here. And it might not be exactly the same, but it should be pretty close. So I'm just going to fold this in here, pinch, 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 and crease. So you can see that this is what I'm left with. See how the sides kind of line up right here? And this tip goes right to that center where the two lines intersect. Okay? Like this. I'm going to give you guys a second to get caught up. All right. So now we're going to do the exact same thing with these other three panels. So you're going to take this one, fold it down to meet this one, and you don't want there to be any overlap here really, so just try to be pretty careful about this fold. Doesn't have to be perfect, but try to get it nice and neat. So you're going to have these two sides lining up right there, and that point in the center. Okay? Might have to fix mine a little bit. You can always just move it over and then kind of re-pinch in that little fold right there. All right, so now we have something that looks like a little house, you know, got a little roof, little bottom of the house. So now you're going to do it to these two bottom panels. So I'm going to just turn it so you can see it a little bit better. I'm going to take this corner and fold it down so that it matches up along this line and that seam right there. And that tip goes in the center. I'm going to pinch it down. And see, like I said, these corners don't have to be perfect. Try to get them nice and neat, but it's okay if it's not perfect. It's your first time. Okay, and we have one corner left. It's like a little envelope now. So you're going to do the exact same thing to this last side. Fold it in. So you're left with a square with all these little flaps, these little triangular flaps, right? Okay. Now I'm going to pause the recording and give you guys a second to get caught up. All right, everybody ready for the next step? So you see this side with all the folds? You're going to want to make that face down. And I'm just going to turn it around so you guys can still see what I'm doing. But you know, if you're folding on a desk or something, you might want to set it down like that. Because now we're folding on this side without any flaps, okay? So we have a nice big square. And you can still, it's a little harder to see, but you can still kind of see those little crisscrossy lines going across there. So we have one going on this diagonal and one going on this diagonal, right? Because when you fold these from a square, you were folding them in from a square, so it would have made a little diamond. So when you turn it over, you can see those are the crisscrosses. So we're just going to straighten it out and do a square again, and now you have little diagonal lines. All right, so the next step, we're going to do exactly what we did on the other side. You're going to take these corners and fold them in here and try to get them to line up with each other, because we don't have a crease here. We can make one. I'm just going to show you a crease this time because it'll make it a little easier to make them line up. But if you are doing this in the future and you feel like you can get it nice and straight without doing the creases, you don't have to do this step. So just to make it a little neater this time though, we're going to do them. So you're going to take it, fold it like a book, like that, okay? Crease it. You just kind of gently pinch this one. You don't have to be too precise about it. Okay, open it up. And now we're going to fold it like a book the other way. Like that. Pinch it. And open it up. So now you'll see we have our little crisscrossing lines right there. Little two intersecting lines going across the middles of the sides. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to do the same thing we did on the other side. You're going to take this corner and fold it down here and try to get the sides to line up. So you're going to fold it over. I'm just going to look this way so I can see it a little better. Try to get that tip right there and pinch it down. Same thing with the next corner. There's your little house. Now you're going to do the bottom two panels. And it might be a little sloppy, see, even on mine, they're not lining up perfectly. Biggest thing is you just don't want to overlap them. So it's better to leave a little gap there than to have them overlapping. Okay? So I'll give you a second to get caught up. It should look like this on one side when you're done and this on the other side when you're done. Okay? Alrighty. Is everyone almost ready to move on to the next step? If not, you can pause the video for a minute. All right, so now before we do our last step, which is going to be a little bit trickier, you're going to want to fill in these different areas. So I'm just going to do the last step on mine quickly so that you can see what it's going to look like when you're done. When you're done, it's gonna look kind of like this. You're gonna have your fingers in there so that you can go like that with it. So the way this game works is you're gonna have something written on each of these little panels. So I like to do directions on there, like a north, south, like a north, south, east, west on there. And you can just go around in a circle, or you can do them the actual directions, like north, south, east, west, right? So when you do that, the way this game works, you go up to somebody and you say, okay, pick a direction. And say they choose north, you have to then spell it out. So this is great spelling practice. And if you want to put yourself up for a little challenge, you can even use spelling words on it to help you review the spellings, because as you're going through, you're going to be spelling the words. So if you put your spelling words on there, it's a great way to review for a spelling quiz. All right. So say they choose north, you're going to go N-O-R-T-H. And then there are going to be little things written on these panels. You can do numbers or colors, or like I said, spelling words, anything like that. Whichever you want, you can customize it, make it yours. That way it's a little bit more creative because you get to choose what you put in there. So say it's colors, and they say, okay, I choose blue. So each one has a different color on it. Then you're going to spell that out. So you go B-L-U-E. And then they're going to choose something else. They're going to choose one of the colors again, or if it was numbers, whichever you had chosen to do. And then you're going to open it up, whichever flap they had picked. You lift it up, and there you can write in a little fortune or a little compliment, something like that, to give them, since that's what they chose in the game. So that's why a lot of times people call them fortune tellers, because you can write little fortunes in there, and you're like, oh, you're gonna have a pony when you grow up, you know? So yours are still looking like this though. They're flat, because it's a little easier to write it in there while they're flat. So I'm gonna grab a pen. All right, and you could use a pencil, whichever you choose. It's up to you. I'm gonna pan my camera down a little so you can see what I'm writing. Right there. Okay, so on this side, you have your bigger flap, so that's gonna be your first choice. So I'm gonna use directions on mine, like I was saying. So I'm gonna write north. And sorry, I have pretty bad handwriting, but it's a work in progress. North, south, east, and west. And when you're writing this first category, you want the center to be like the bottom of your paper always. So you can see I wrote west with this being the bottom, south with this being the bottom, east, north, because when you fold it out, that's how they're gonna stand up. Okay, so everyone choose something to label your outside flaps with. Okie dokie. Next step. So now you're going to turn it over to this side. You're going to choose something to write on each one of these. Okay? And if you want to do something different, that makes it a little bit more exciting. So if you do something different, you're going to do every other panel. So like you could do a color, a number, color, number, color, number, color, number. Or especially since it's your first time, you can make it easier and just do all colors or all numbers or all languages, or anything you choose, all states, whichever you want. I think I might do states just to mix things up. So I'm gonna write, and same thing, you want the center to be your bottom. And it's not a huge deal if you do it in a different direction, it just, something might be a little bit upside down. So I'm gonna choose, how about New York, Florida, Nebraska. And making cootie catchers, as you can see, is a great way to review topics. Like in this case, if you're trying to remember the 50 states, you can try to quiz yourself just a couple at a time by seeing if you can remember which ones there are to write them on a cootie catcher. Okay, Maine, California, let's see. Alabama, Georgia, and Texas. Okay, so you can see that I've labeled each one of those little triangles with a state, right? So I'll give you guys a second to label yours with whatever you choose. Fruits, vegetables, anything you want to do. Just make sure you can spell it right. Alrighty, next step, you're gonna open these little panels, I would say one at a time so that you don't get confused. So I'm gonna open this one up first. And you have two options here again too. So you can either do one fortune across both of them, or you can split it. See where this little seam, this little fold is right there in the middle? You can split it and do one fortune here and one fortune there, or one complement there, one complement there. So I think I'm gonna try to do two, just to make things a little bit more fun. So I'll show you on this first one, and then I'll just give you guys a few minutes to fill out your own. So I'm gonna write, here, I'll turn this around so you can see better. Right there. So I'm gonna write, you are going to have an awesome day on one side. And then on the other side, how about you will see an orange today. Something a little sillier. So you can see I wrote a little fortune on either side. You can draw a little line down the middle dividing it. You can color them however you want to decorate it. Make it your own. So you can see that's what I did right there. I don't know if it'll be backwards on your screen, but now I'm just going to give you guys a couple minutes to take your time and fill out your own fortunes. So you're going to do some in each one of these. And like I said, you can do one or two fortunes in there, whichever you want. I'll give you a couple seconds to fill out your own. Some other ideas for things that can go in these flaps, you can do, like right here, I did a little knock knock joke. You could do a question, like a math problem, or you could do a riddle. Anything like that'll work, whichever you choose to do. So go ahead and finish yours up. Alrighty, next step, we are gonna make these 3D. So see this side that you just wrote all over? We're gonna be starting on this other side that you just have the 4 flaps on. So we're gonna fold it like a book, and you're gonna be folding it on the other side too. So you're gonna fold it like a book, like that, right? So you have a rectangle, it'll have 2 of your flaps on each side. Now this part's the tricky part. So you're gonna take these 2 fingers, your thumb and your first finger, on both hands, thumb and first finger, and you're gonna stick them into these little flaps. So this one's, you have to be kind of careful with this because you don't wanna be ripping it. So I'm gonna show you, so you're gonna take this finger, stick it in here, and kind of pop it out. So see how I have a little triangle popping, popping out there? You're gonna put your thumb in on the other side, like that. Same thing with these 2. Put your thumb and your first finger in the little flaps like that. So it'll look like this. And then this will be hard the first time, but it'll be much easier once you kind of get this broken in. So now you're gonna just push the 2 sides together like that. You might have to do a little adjusting once it's up, but overall it should look something like this. So you have on one side the 4 little pockets to put your fingers in, pinch, pinch. And then I'm just gonna have you guys practice for a second here. Practice going one way and the other way. So I'm gonna show you with my fingers. I'm going thumbs together and pointer fingers together. Then I'm putting them together and going the other way. So it's a lot easier once you get the hang of it. So I'm just gonna give you a second to practice that here. So now I'm just going to give you guys a quick example on how to play. So if you were to start like this, I would say, okay, pick a direction, north, south, east, or west. How about east? All right, E, A, S, T. Okay, pick a state, Florida, Nebraska, Alabama, or Georgia. I think Georgia. All right, Georgia. Ready? G, E, O, R, G, I, A. Okay, pick another state. Maine, California, New York, or Texas? I'd have to go with Maine. All right, Maine. M, A, I, N, E. Okay, last time. Pick a state. Florida, Nebraska, Alabama, or Georgia? Nebraska. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up the Nebraska tab so you can see. I'm gonna kind of open this up. So Nebraska's right here. I'm gonna flip it up. Ooh, it's a joke. All right. Knock, knock. Who's there? Who? Who? Aw, don't cry. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed how to make and use a cootie catcher. And I hope you guys have fun with this and continue using them throughout the year. It's a great, fun little game to review things or just have fun. So have an awesome weekend. It was nice to do another video with you guys. I'll see you later.